Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob, and today we are going to be continuing the narration for the side story Lingering Echoes in Arknights. And before we begin with anything today, considering this is a part 2, I will obviously from here on onward start with recaps for previous parts as per usual on these narrations. But first, let me quickly address a comment from last episode which came in literally just hours before I started recording this part. So thank you again, Rafael Amat, for that comment. If you see this, thank you very much. Yes, what you said is, I think, correct. As I said in the comment, it should be not Dame as I was reading it, but Dame, considering they are obviously using a form of German language there in Leithanien, considering Leithanien is pretty much based on Germany itself. At least the 1800s, 1900s Germany. But still, it is German, so therefore from here on onward I will be correcting that to Dame. So yeah, thank you very much for that. And also I've seen some comments by people who are new to the game, so welcome. I hope you are enjoying your stay with the game. It is a pretty damn good game with a good story. But let's begin with the usual part. If you wanna skip this little recap intro section, I will always from part 2 and onward leave time skips in my very own comment in the comment section, so just hit that and you're gonna be right at the stages. But let's begin with on the previous part. On the previous part, we got introduced pretty much to a mobile city in Leithanien in which our dear little Hibiscus, who did not look, and I did not perceive her as Hibiscus until she started arguing with a local street vendor about food. And Hibiscus, all I'm gonna say to you is, never argue with a man who can make a good sauerkraut. Never do that. Oh boy. Anyway, we got introduced to Hibiscus, who was sent to a Leithanien mobile city by the name of Vyseheim. In it, we get introduced to several new characters that are going to be important for this story, Hibiscus being one of them, who is sent to investigate a very interesting phenomenon that is happening amongst the infected population of the city, in the form of some of them are getting better for some reason, and she is there sent by the landship to investigate what is happening. She links up with Adante, who is the local representative in a pretty much one-person run, from what I'm understanding at least, one-person run office of Rhode Island there. And the both of them head on to the concert hall in the city called the Afterglow Hall, which is situated in the Afterglow sector of the mobile city. The Afterglow sector is, in fact, the region of the city that is dedicated to the infected. Pretty much the entire population is just infected people. At the concert hall, they do see our next important person to the story, which is the musician Czerny, who is responsible for creating several musical scores, is being renowned not just in the circles of the infected, but also amongst the nobility because of his prowess with music. We get also introduced to the fact that he is gonna be holding his last concert and is holding now an auditions sponsored by the local nobility, and there is a ton of musicians who are lining up to be in the concert with him. Amongst them, we learn our next important character for the story, which is a young boy with white hair by the name of Kreide. Which, by the way, I can't remember if I said it in a previous episode, but I find it funny that, yes, he has white hair, and his name is Kreide, which essentially means chalk. Yep. Yep. Anyway, we get introduced to the young boy who is a cello player, and decided to participate because he heard he could earn some money if he gets selected. Sadly for him, that is not the case, even though he could use the money very well for his sick grandfather's treatment, who is also infected with Oripathy. We also get introduced to two other characters along the way, one of them being the very character you can pull on the banner, Abendrot, and the local noble leader of the city, the Gräfin Gertrude, who is pretty much pushing Abendrot to participate in the auditions. Abendrot then proceeds to do so, makes an acquaintance with Kreide. They along the line start also as what I've been trying to say. They also get together and are pretty much gonna try to participate as a duet in the concert. Even though they pass the first round, they get promptly later shut down, or rather, Abendrot gets shut down by Czerny himself, who has a lot of complaints about his style of doing things. But then later on, they get put back in, considering the other two people who were apparently selected instead of them. Well, they ended up in a bar fight and are now out of commission. So Czerny has to either deal with these two boys, or he will take out the piece that they are supposed to play, which is called Morgen und Abend, out of the entire concert. Along the lines, we also learn that Abendrot is harboring a tiny little secret inside of him, which is apparently he can hear from time to time a voice talking in his head. The voice belonging to apparently none other than the Witch King himself, the former leader, the former majesty of Leithanien, who was taken out of the picture by the very twin empresses who are currently leading the entirety of Leithanien. But apparently some of his arts, are lingering about, some kind of spell, because it is inside of him. And so we also learned that not just him, but Kreide himself harbors a little piece of that voice of Terra, as it is called, that is somewhere inside of him. But they are different in some aspects, as we are going to be going over that in today's part. But many pieces are moving, and the story will go... it will go places. But I think this is pretty much enough for the recap and introduction to the characters. So, let's proceed with today's part. Today we are going to cover the story from stage 3, 4, ST-2, and 5. And if I am correct, judging by the achievements, the only parts left after that are going to be 6, 7, 8, and potentially another one of these cutscene only stages. So I don't know, I haven't, obviously, as you can see, haven't looked ahead. But yeah, 3 or 4 stages technically left then, and it's gonna make for a good third part to round up the story. But yeah, today we're gonna start on stage 3. Stage 3 by the title of Freischütz. Sorry for the little cut there very quickly. I forgot to bring up a little thing that I prepared here, because as I researched it, their Freischütz, like I thought for a second, is an actual opera. I think pretty much every stage is named after something in classical music. So if you wanna, you can go ahead and look it up. Just type the words you're seeing on screen and you'll learn a bit about that opera itself. But yeah, pardon about that cut, very quick cut. Anyway, der Freischütz says here, what the hunter does not know is that while the final magic bullet remains unshot, true relief will elude him. So, let's begin with the before part. Let me see. That's right, this is the place. Isn't this place too ornate to be a music store? Of course, this is the best music store in all of Vyseheim. Otherwise, I wouldn't have brought you here. But I didn't apply to enter the cliffy patio. Those bureaucrats are so inefficient that by the time they process your application, the concert would already be over. Plus, even if we do get found out, we'd only be looking at a fine. I heard that if someone helps an infected leave the afterglow, the punishment for them is worse than for the infected. What's there to be afraid of? It'll be fine. Stand up straight and don't act skittish. Just don't let anyone be able to tell and we won't have any issues. Welcome, mein Herr. Are you here to pick out an instrument or... Of course, let's find ourselves a cello first. Very well. Who might this gentleman be with you? Him? He's my... Mein Herr, I apologize for my rudeness, but I must remind you that those wearing unauthorized apparel are not allowed into the store. I'll go wait outside then. Outside? What exactly are you afraid of? Acting all suspicious. Don't tell me you... Do you have any idea whom you're casting aspirations? Unauthorized? Suspicious? How dare you use such words to describe a noble? Do you value your job or not? He's simply fallen on hard times and has no choice but to dress plainly. His clothes are neither damaged nor dirty, so why would he not be allowed inside the store? Excuse my rudeness, but this gentleman's attire does not match the store's required style of... Style? My cousin has just suffered a great upheaval. His cello, which he cherished greatly, was destroyed in a turmoil. I wanted to bring him here to buy a new cello as way of expressing my condolences. What right do we have to spout nonsense about style? I am terribly sorry about this, but it is store policy that all customers must be dressed appropriately. I'm sorry, but I cannot allow your companion to enter. Fine then. Abendrot takes off his cloak and drapes it over Kreide. Now that he's wearing the same clothes as me, can he enter? Or is my cloak somewhat part of your inappropriate dress? If I put my cloak back on later, am I also not allowed to enter? Well... I'll go and ask the manager. This one can't just mind his own business. Here, your coat. Thank you. You're welcome. It was my idea to bring you here to buy a cello in the first place. I'm bringing you inside the store one way or another, even if I have to pick a fight with that clerk. We would like to extend our sincerest apologies to both of you. The manager will be here shortly and he will personally show you our instruments. Excuse me, are you busy right now? Oh, it's Hibiscus. I've got plenty of time. It's about your condition. Phew. I was worried that clerk was going to report us to the authorities. Nonsense. It's not like he knew you were infected. He just saw your shoddy clothes and took you for a commoner. This looks like we forgot something. We did? Our suits, of course. Surely you don't plan to wear this on stage. It's too unprofessional. Let's go. I'll find you the best tailor in all of Vyseheim. No, I can't. During the fitting, the originium crystals would... You do have a point. In that case, we'll find the best tailor in Afterglow. How about it? The sky is blue and fine. Alright, alright. I can't thank you enough for buying this cello for me and for helping me order a suit. The cello's on me, and we haven't even gotten your clothes yet, nor do we know how they'll look on you. You can save your thanks for later. We'll know by tomorrow afternoon. I'm sure they'll fit just great. So thank you. Since we left the store, all you've been doing other than humming is thanking me. We've been over it a dozen times. The river murmurs clear. This tune... What's the matter? I think I've heard it before, or maybe I haven't. Never mind, it's probably just my imagination. By the way, you've studied the cello, so why don't you have one of your own? Did it break? That teacher who taught me how to play did give me a cello, but it didn't take long for someone to mess it up. Even though it's still sitting back at home, by the time I leave the city, I might only be able to bring the bow with me. Just the bow? What's the purpose of that? Seeing the bow is enough to remind me of my teacher. I'm afraid that if I were to lose the bow, I might forget my teacher as well. Forget? Don't you remember your teacher just fine? Actually, I'm already starting to forget. My teacher was a nice sancta lady with very long hair. She dressed plainly and always had a smile on her face. I used to remember a lot as if she were standing right before my eyes, but not anymore. There are actually a lot of others I wanted to remember. So I need a few keepsakes to make sure that I won't completely forget. Keepsakes, huh. What about right now? What do you plan to remember Cherny by? I suppose a signature would do just fine. What about Hibiscus from Rhode Island? For Hibiscus, maybe an empty medicine bottle with the Rhode Island logo? You're too easy to please. So long as it helps me remember, the actual object doesn't matter. What about me then? It'd be this cello, wouldn't it? Maybe something else. The cello from my teacher didn't last very long. If this one also... Fair enough. I want to keep a coin that you gave me. Maybe punch a hole through it and wear it as a pendant. That sounds like a pretty good idea. Money is how you'll remember me. Huh? Is there something wrong with that? Then I'll pick something else. No, it's a fine idea. Shall we head back home and practice? Actually, I was thinking, why don't we pay a visit to Herr Cherny first? Oh? I'll pass. It's no secret that he gets all pissy when he sees me. I'm sure that's just a misunderstanding. It'll get cleared up. You've been saying that since the first day we met him. Even if it really is some sort of misunderstanding, I think we're well beyond the point of clearing anything up. So yes, I'll pass after all. But Herr Cherny approved of you yesterday, didn't he? All misunderstandings have to be resolved bit by bit. Let's go. I want to see him so we can try out the cello you just got for me. It'd be a shame if such a wonderful instrument didn't have a knowledgeable audience. Excuse me, are you busy right now? Hibiscus? Sorry, but now's not a very good time. I'd just like you to answer a few questions. You're also free to not answer if there's anything you're not comfortable disclosing. You're not gonna take my blood? I wouldn't do that without your consent. Okay. I don't want to believe it, but this cello isn't something you can find in the afterglow after one morning of shopping around. You went to the cliffy patio, didn't you? I did. Bold of you. Actually, Abendrot got into an argument with a store clerk just so I could get into the store. An argument? Did he think your clothes weren't fancy enough for the cliffy patio? The clerk said something about not being able to enter the store unless dressed appropriately, but do you see anything wrong with Kreide's attire? They were purposely fault-finding because Kreide was wearing commoner's clothes. So you, a noble, have begun to fight for the commoners. I did it for Kreide. Regardless of whether he's a noble or a commoner, his skill is more than worthy of the instruments inside that store. To deny Kreide entry but to sell those magnificent wares to nobles who needlessly fill their shelves with them would be to treat the finest lumber as firewood. Journey just nods. I didn't expect to hear those words out of your mouth. Kreide, go ahead and get acquainted with your new instrument. I'll accompany Abendrot and have him practice solo for a bit. Let's see if we can change some of his old habits. Change my habits? I dare say. Yes, Herr Czerny. Kreide whispering to Abendrot. See, all misunderstandings have to be resolved bit by bit. Herr Czerny's attitude is already changing. The rest is up to you. Hello. You the devil? Get out of here. Do you have any memory problems or something? Sorry to bother you. Get your ass back here. Did you need something? You're planning to go hide back in your office again, aren't you? You're being a bit unreasonable. Who the hell do you think you are? You still owe me quite a lot of coffee money, so who do you think I am? It's you, Herr Beegler. Sorry, didn't notice you there. Thank you. Don't mention it. At the end of the day, the Afterglow is an infected settlement. It's really lively here, but you'll run into plenty who can't be reasoned with. Best be careful out there. Thank you for the reminder. Here's my business card with the phone number of my coffee shop on the front side. If you're ever thirsty, give me a call. We deliver too, real fast. By the way, hasn't Adante always been the one in charge of the Rhode Island office? Did you just get dispatched over here? Actually, I'm here to investigate some strange happenings. Oh, Mr. Beegler, regarding your condition. Strange happenings? What kind of strange are you talking about? I haven't heard a thing. So, this is what happened. How fares the situation? Lachmann's plans proceeded spectacularly. Graf Urtika's actions were largely within expectations, though he did cause some hindrance to Lachmann. It was most likely accidental and did not incur any lasting consequences. That's nothing. I never expected Lachmann alone to drive Rhode Island out of the Afterglow. As for Czerny, he already had to expend most of the goodwill he's earned, not to mention copyrights, just to invite those haughty critics to the concert. Word also has it that he held his nose and wrote a glowing recommendation for a Noble's album that he held nothing but disdain for. For someone like him, there is no going back now that he stooped to this level. What about the Sancta from a few days ago? If I remember right, when she applied for entry into the city, she said she came from Laterano to immerse herself in Leithanien culture. According to the records, she concluded her tour around Vyseheim and left earlier today for her next destination. So we don't have to worry about her. Let's go. We should be on our way to Afterglow Hall. But our appointment with Czerny isn't until tonight. There's no shortage of prep work to be done. Plus, if that one ever decides to head to Afterglow Hall on a whim, our hired muscle won't be enough to stop him. That's when things get troublesome. Alright, and now for the after portion. No good. At the triplets. No, throughout this entire piece. I thought you were trying to show off at first, but after a few sessions, it's clear that you're not. Instead, you're deliberately handling high difficulty passages with excessive flair, as if to obfuscate the less technical passages. In theory, you should already be quite familiar with this piece, so what's the point of fudging the easy sections? The point? To fudge my way out of this rote mechanical drilling. How's that for an answer? You've lost your temper. Showing off. Fudging. Why such loaded words? The way I see it, I'm wasting time repeating the same piece over and over. Whatever you understand or not doesn't matter to me, but you're going to be playing in my concert. If I say it's no good, then that means it's no good. Keep practicing, and don't stop until you understand what I'm talking about. Fine. I also happen to want to know what manner of unfathomable creature I'm running from. Start from measure 17. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the matter? What was going through your head when you played that passage just now? Nothing in particular. Wrong. You're throwing a fit at me. And what warranted your specifically pointing that out to me? That was the best you've sounded all day. Are you joking? Do I need to joke around with you? All you can think about right now is how to shut me up. Isn't that right? That's exactly the way to approach it. When I wrote this piece, I was also thinking of someone who always competes with me. You're not saying anything, so I assume you're still surly. Or do you have such a problem with me that you don't want anything to do with me anymore? No, I actually thought... Thought what? Abendrot takes a deep breath. I thought you had a problem with me. I do have a problem with you. You have a problem with me, and is it that I'm a noble? That is one reason, but not a particularly important one. It's true that I do not like nobles, but that does not stop me from applauding their music. Just as some nobles see me as unclean, but that does not stop them from practicing my compositions at home. Even the fortunate ones, sheltered and blissfully unaware of the plight of men, with sufficient respect for music and a desire to pursue it, may be found expounding the joys of life. But your performance is virtuosic at times, yet perfunctory at others. Overall, it's as if one side of you is just trying to kill time, while the other half is going to great lengths to embellishments and frills, as if to prove to others that your problem is a matter of motivation rather than capacity. Let me be clear about this. This is a form of blasphemy against music, an attitude I absolutely cannot accept. Fortunately for you, you've already proven to me that you're not doing it on purpose. At least you have the ability to rid yourself of this state. What I suspect more now is that you had a talented teacher who was irresponsible toward his students. Yes, that's exactly the kind of person my teacher was. Thanks to him, I can perform a few pieces on pretty much every instrument, but I love him from the bottom of my heart. If that actually is the case, his music must have been quite unusual as well. You're right about that, but I don't want to talk about him anymore. No matter. Back on topic, I need you to remember how you felt today. I'm not telling you to keep holding your nose while you practice this piece, but I'd like you to remember the rhythms and expressions from this last time, and the way you played those passages and transitions. Alright. Good, let's wrap things up. You must be tired from practicing for so long. I still need to take a look around the concert hall and meet with my sponsor, so I need to get going soon. That's it for today. I'll have Ursula fetch something to drink for you and Kryde. Ursula? Ursula? Where are you? Kryde, have you seen Ursula?
She said she was going to Rhode Island to fetch some medicine and left about half an hour ago.
Half an hour ago? Their office isn't that far away. I'll head down to the Rhode Island office to see what's going on. You two can go home.
I was also about to go there to visit my grandpa, so I'll come with you. Ebenholz, want to join us?
Not like I have anything better to do.
Ebenholz, Kryde, and Mr. Czerny too. You all came at just the right time.
Oh god.
I'm cooking up some food. Would you like to join us in a bit?
Hibiscus, where's Ursula?
Miss Ursula is helping out in the kitchen. Well, if it isn't Herr Czerny.
Didn't you come here to pick up medicine? How'd you end up cooking?
That was the plan, but I caught Hibiscus cooking, and Adante went out again. Thought it'd be bad to impose, and offered to lend a hand. Now you're here, and that takes care of tonight's dinner as well. Since Ebenholz and Kryde are here too, we need to make extra. How about Grandpa's portion? Your Grandpa has been asleep this whole time. I'm afraid he won't be able to join us at the table tonight. The whole time? Has his condition worsened? Don't worry, as far as I can tell, that's a common side effect of the medication, but he'll adjust to it soon enough. Alright. Hibiscus, what's this thing? It looks like an apple. It's a very nutritious tuber, great for your health. I haven't seasoned it yet though, so hold on a bit.
Weren't you going to check out the concert hall with your sponsor? I still have to fill up the tank before I go.
That sponsor must be very dear to you, right, Herr Czerny?
Dear, huh? Quite the opposite.
Oh?
At first, I thoroughly thought the two of us kindred spirits, but I quickly realized she is not the same kind of person as I.
If I recall correctly, your true soulmate was the one intimately connected to Morgan and Abend, only to pass away before you completed that opus.
That's right. Now that I think about it more calmly, the reason you rubbed me the wrong way from the very beginning might have something to do with the way this piece came about. Hearing you play Morgan und Abend like that filled my heart with some dissatisfaction. But now that you've seen the light, my stone in my heart has at least been shed.
It's all thanks to all those hours of intense instructions you provided. Otherwise...
I see sarcasm is also one of your bad habits.
Maybe it is.
It's fine, I don't mind. The way I see it, the most important quality a musician can have is sincerity. Sarcasm aside, even deeply rooted hatred, if expressed using the proper techniques, is meaningful all the same.
The last dish is ready. If not for Ursula's help, cooking all these dishes would have taken forever. Eating together makes it feel like we're one big family.
Ebenholz mumbles.
Family, huh? Speaking of family, I wonder how Lava is doing back on the land ship. Lava? Lava is my sister, and an infected. She can be full at times, but she's a good egg. Your eyes lighted up when you mentioned your sister, Hibiscus. Really? Lava's the kind of girl who remembers who's been good to her, even if she's bad at expressing it. She's always getting into trouble. She's also infected, but unlike me, she's really into studying her own originium arts. That's why she needs to pay extra attention to her diet. Plus, she tends to miss meals or stay up too late because of her training, and I always have to remind her. Oh my, I'm sorry. Whenever I talk about Lava, I can't help myself. The food's going to get cold, so let's dig in. I'm going to go change Kreider's grandpa's bandages first, and then I'll be right back.
She sure loves her little sister.
That's what siblings are for. Can't help but wonder at times if Mynheer had a brother or sister of his own, maybe he'd be a bit more easygoing.
Ursula?
Hibiscus, are you done changing his bandages? I'll be there in a moment. Coming. Thanks for waiting. Now then, don't stand on ceremony, go ahead and dig in.
Here you go. 1 order of pan-fried sauerkraut.
Thank you.
Finally something normal to eat. Sorry. Sorry. I thought I would be able to hold it in, but sorry, can't. I love it. Wait, huh? You even packed some of her health food to go?
I must admit, the taste was rather odd, but I don't think it's good to waste food.
You can eat that yourself tomorrow. Oh, and it continues.
Care for another bowl of soup, Mynheer?
No thanks, I'm full. You didn't notice anything off with her cooking when you were in the kitchen?
Couldn't just go around tasting food, being in someone else's kitchen and all. Besides, she does cook plenty healthy. I could see that much. Suppose I could also learn a thing or two from Hibiscus, changing up my own cooking.
Just runs away.
Ah, Mynheer, I'm just joking. Come back. I'm back. How was it? Have you eaten yet? If not, thanks for the offer, but I already ate out. Oh, I even saved a portion just for you. Sorry for making you do the detective legwork, but it's hard for me to get around right now. Don't worry about it, I'm also a part of the Afterglow. If I can find some way to improve the situation, it'll benefit me just fine. Now for the data analysis.
I must say, this setup surpasses my expectations. Far from it, Mynheer. This is your farewell concert after all. If anything, it ought to be more grandiose. I was talking about the instruments. Ah, yes, Dame Gertrude spent a significant amount of money procuring the highest quality instruments. We've tried our best to meet you and your musicians' needs when it comes to the venue and equipment. Now that you've had a good look around, if I'm not mistaken, I believe I still haven't seen the lounge.
Ah, look at this sorry memory of mine.
Right this way. That's strange. Why won't this door open? Is there someone inside?
Yes, someone indeed is inside.
Dame Gertrude?
Considering the significance of this concert, I'm personally inspecting the concert hall's furnishings.
Thank you for... that you would have to come handle such trivial matters in person means that we have failed in our duties. Sincerest apologies.
It's fine. If I heard right, Herr Czerny is also here.
Yes, I am. What are you doing in there?
I'm checking the lounge's interior. In my opinion, while the lounge does not meet the bare minimum as set by you and your musicians, it leaves much to be desired.
Journey just sighs audibly on the other side of the door.
Water stains on the mirrors, rusting on the drawer's handles plating, small holes in the carpet, just to name a few of the problems.
I told you before, this concert doesn't need so much pomp and flair. As long as things work, it's good enough.
That will not do. As your sponsor, my reputation is closely tied to the performance that you and your underlings put on.
How many times do I have to tell you? They are musicians who volunteer to play at the concert, not my underlings.
There is no difference in the eyes of the people you've invited.
Have it your way.
I'll open the door for you now. You're free to inspect the facilities yourself.
Never mind. I'll just leave it in your hands.
Do you not want to come in and take a look?
Not in the slightest. So you can stop putting on airs. I trust you didn't want to see my face either, right? So let's make things easy for one another.
Herr Czerny, your tone.
This is how we've always talked to each other.
Then run along and do as you please. I'll proceed with the needed inspections here. I just hope that these mundane affairs will prove to be a benefit to you on the day of the concert rather than an hindrance.
Also, sorry about the laughter there. I can't hold it in during that bit. Originally, reading through it also made me just burst out laughing. That is so on point when it comes to her cooking and such. But anyway, stage 4, titled Surprise. Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen. Loud though that was, it's no cause for alarm. So, let's begin.
Coming, I'll be right there. Hibiscus? Good morning. You're up early today. It's barely light out. Where's Abendrot? Huh? He's still asleep. Your eyes are all bloodshot. Did you stay up all night? Wake him too. Hurry.
False recovery? I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Do you really not understand me, or are you just... Fine, I'll explain it one more time. The reason I came to the Afterglow was to investigate why the infected people here were suddenly getting better. But according to our visits over the last few days, the infected here in the Afterglow are not getting better, but exhibiting something called a false recovery. In other words, the patient's conditions appear to be getting better, but in reality is taking a turn for the worse. Why would that appear to be improving? Why would they appear to be improving then if they're getting worse? Let me explain it in another way. Generally speaking, whenever the body is injured, the best outcome is for it to return to its original state. If it is unable to return to its original state, the body will mobilize its non-damaged parts to cover for the functions lost through the injury, a process we call compensation. Right now, most of the infected in the Afterglow have activated their body's compensation functions, causing them to appear to be in a very good shape. But inside them, where the eye cannot see, the severity of the Oripathy is rapidly getting worse. At the current rate, a certain cohort is about to enter the decompensation stage.
Decompensation?
Once the extent of the damage exceeds the body's maximum ability to compensate, the fragile equilibrium is broken, and the patient quickly lapses into the acute exuberation stage of Oripathy, where their condition deteriorates sharply and becomes life-threatening. Actually, there are already people starting to enter the acute stage.
How? I get the gist of what you're talking about, but what does that have to do with... Wait, are you saying that Kryde is at risk too?
No. That isn't the problem. Based on an analysis of our findings, so you and Kryde seem to be the primary factors behind this occurrence.
Kryde and I caused all of this? That's complete nonsense.
After analyzing your activities and movements, I've confirmed that you, or maybe something you're carrying, is strongly correlated with the incident of false recovery. For example, the worker in the laundromat beside your residence said the day before that she felt especially good. Her condition worsened dramatically last night, and she was nearly taken to hospice care. I urge the two of you to cooperate with me. If you have any leads, please let me know right away. This is for the safety of everyone in the Afterglow. You can't think of anything at all?
Nothing's coming to mind.
Can't the two of you come down to the office with me and let me check something real quick, just in case? Judging by the markers, one of you is a completely healthy man, and the other one is in the stable phase of Oripathy. How could this be? Hibiscus, this time it's the owner of the music shop behind Afterglow Hall. How's the situation? Thankfully, he signed an agreement with the hospital in the Cliffy Patio and has already been picked up. Another case of false recovery? That's right, just yesterday afternoon he reported no discomfort whatsoever. I'll go follow up just to make sure the hospital doesn't find a way to renege on the agreement. Those two? I'll handle it. Then I'll be off. I have to ask again, is there anything you can think of? Every moment is the difference between life and death, so please. How about this? Abendrot, why don't you come with me first? Let's have a chat about this. Kryde, would you mind waiting a bit inside?
Why'd you drag me out here by myself?
I apologize in advance if this comes out the wrong way, but I want you and Kryde to keep some distance from each other. The sooner, the better.
Why are you telling me this, and not him? Do you suspect that I purposely caused this so-called false recovery?
No. If it only were that simple, I'd be able to hand you straight to the Vyseheim authorities and that'd solve the root of the issue. But the incident of false recovery started before you arrived, and Adante was the one who noticed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to the Afterglow, or even to Vyseheim.
Then why did you say that before I came? What about Kryde?
The phenomenon of false recovery began right after he arrived in Vyseheim.
After he arrived in Vyseheim? How could that be?
It was at roughly the same time Kryde arrived in the Afterglow. The indicators from a portion of the infected here began to gradually improve. But his effect on the infected was so minuscule at the time that nobody else noticed except the thorough and careful Adante. After the two of you met at the registration, Kryde's influence suddenly strengthened. Based on the reports Adante submitted to the Rhode Island landship, the situation would have taken at least half a year to deteriorate to its current state with just Kryde alone. After you arrived in just a few days' time, we have the current situation on our hands. I need you to explain to me what exactly is going on here. If you don't have an explanation, I'll need you to put things on hold before the situation spins out of control. So, I hope you'll leave the Afterglow and Vyseheim as quickly as possible.
What about the concert?
The concert? That's what matters to you? If the false recovery is caused by some sort of arts, then your ensemble would amplify that, if anything. Wait, could it be That's your...
Stop. I'll be frank. I hate nothing more than being unfairly accused.
This isn't a problem that can be resolved by respecting your feelings.
I know. So give me some time.
How long do you need?
If things go smoothly, just a few hours. If not, I don't know, but I promise I'll be back.
Alright, I'll trust you this once.
I don't agree to this.
Abendrot worked so hard to perform in the concert and finally managed to win over Herr Czerny. It'd be a travesty if he just walked away at this point. You're missing the bigger picture. We're talking about people's lives here.
But...
Abendrot?
Abendrot? Where are you going?
Abendrot!
You look like you're all out of breath. Did you run the entire way here? I'd urge you not to seek me out in this manner. The risk of being exposed is... Exposed? Things are starting to get pear-shaped, and that's what you're worried about? I want to ask you something. Does the resonance from your so-called voice of Terra have any effect on other people?
The resonance? No. As long as it is not deliberately directed, the voice of Terra's resonance should not affect others in any way.
Then why did Hibiscus see me and Kreide as the source of the false recoveries?
Hibiscus?
A Rhode Island operator dispatched to Vyseheim.
So, Rhode Island has termed this phenomenon false recovery. A clear and concise description, as you would expect of such professionals.
You knew about it after all.
If you're talking about the anomalies that have been happening to the infected in the Afterglow recently, then yes, I do know.
What exactly is going on?
Stated simply, the voice of Terra within Kreide is damaged.
Damaged?
When you cast arts, the voice of Terra inside you will activate, therefore assisting you, correct?
Yes, I do hear a faint, shrill melody as I'm casting arts. How can something like that be damaged?
Kreide's voice of Terra has always been in an active state, unlike how you are able to turn yours off. In other words, he's been unconsciously casting arts all around him, with no ability to control it. If you ask him, he'd probably tell you that he's always been able to hear some sort of weighing melody in his head. You can understand this phenomenon as leakage. This false recovery is a product of the voice of Terra's leakage, indiscriminately increasing the activity of Originium in the surroundings, using the power of Originium to heal the nearby infected. However, the source of the healing energy is taken directly from the Originium within the body of each infected. Using the infected themselves as arts devices, using the Originium inside their bodies to enhance their compensatory functions. This is the false recovery caused by Kreide's voice of Terra. Kreide has been in this state for a long time, continuously affecting the infected around him.
If this has been going on for so long, someone should have figured it out by now.
The credit for that goes to you, Herr Abendrot.
Me?
Resonance.
Resonance amplifies the leakage of Kreide's voice of Terra, which is causing an explosion in the recent case of false recovery.
That's the situation, yes.
Alright, I see exactly what's going on now. I hereby withdraw from your plan.
Freedom is at your fingertips, and you're going to give it up just like that?
I'm not crazy enough to buy my freedom with the lives of an entire swath of infected.
You've been shaken by that woman from Rhode Island. This false recovery is indeed not a good thing, but your concert with Kreide is just a few days away. After a few days, your voice of terror will be removed, and then you'll leave Vyseheim. Nobody will even notice that we are short a few infected. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you walk away now, Graf Urtrika's shadow will follow you your entire life. Is that what you really want?
No, but I won't do that either. Goodbye, Dame Gertrude.
Where are you going?
None of your business.
Your footsteps sound rather unsteady. Are you getting a headache?
I already told you. It's none of your business. Alright, and now for the after portion. She's insane. Absolutely insane. That's an entire district of people we're talking about. Besides, does she really think she can come away clean from an incident of this scale? If I went along with her plan, I'd be the first one to take the fall. Even though I'm losing this opportunity, there's nothing to feel bad about. I'll have other opportunities. I can afford to wait. I made it to Vyseheim's custom office. Just as Abendrot is about to enter the customs office, an intense headache nearly knocks him off his feet. A voice from nowhere. A coward on the run. I don't need you telling me what to do. Even if I die in Urtrika, I don't want to become a murderer like you. You fear, you are afraid. If you are ensnared by fear, then never in your life shall you taste freedom. Shut up. Naive idiot. Call me whatever you want. Do you think that woman can get you out of here so easily? Hmm? Good, it doesn't look like there's anyone here. I just need to be extra careful and make sure nobody sees me. Just a little further and I'll be in the uninhabited plate on the edge of the city. Abendrot takes a deep breath. Were you seriously planning to jump off the edge of a nomadic city? Huh? While that is technically the quickest way out of Vyseheim, I would advise against it. Don't force my hand, Gertrude. I have no intention of doing that. Then leave me alone and get out of my sight. Where do you plan to go? Vyseheim will continue to move until the concert comes to an end. You have nowhere to go. Even if you risk life and limb to force your way out, only the barren wastelands await you. I'd rather step into the uncharted wastelands then. You'd rather die in the waste than spend another second in Vyseheim? Correct. I understand how you feel, but you can calm down first and let me finish. What more do I need to hear from you? Do you really want me to reveal everything to you right here, my dear Graf Urtrika? Graf Urtrika. You don't need to emphasize my title. I know what you're trying to say. First of all, I promise that under the current conditions, our plan can still proceed smoothly. It's not our plan, it's yours. If your cementing games allow you to sleep better at night, then so be it. Kryde's voice of terror is damaged, and Rhode Island has also discovered its side effect. Can a damaged voice of terror cancel out another one? Even if it could, would Rhode Island turn a blind eye? Indeed, Kryde's voice of terror can still join in resonance. As for Rhode Island, where do you think we are? This is Vyseheim, my domain.
That little Fräulein Hibiscus is also an infected. Even letting her step into Leithanien is only to keep up appearances with Rhode Island. She can go nowhere but Vyseheim. In any case, she only knows that there's something going on with you and Kreide, but doesn't know how it's happening. She has no evidence. I understand you don't have the heart to bring harm upon infected who have nothing to do with this. The way I see it, this compassion is extraneous, but if you truly wish to act upon it, it is even more important that you carry out the plan.
Carry out the plan and let all those infected people die?
I'll tell you the rest of the plan then. You and Kreide will do it, and you will remove your own voice of terror. Afterwards, I'll create some commotion in the concert hall and take advantage of the chaos to kill Kreide and disguise his body as yours.
What did you say?
As he has become the biggest scourge of the Afterglow, it is impossible for him to live on.
Impossible for what? Don't be ridiculous. The biggest scourge of the Afterglow is none other than you.
As I said before, all these scourges of the Afterglow come from Kreide's corrupted voice of terror. Resonance exacerbates the leakage of the voice of terror in an irreversible process. Even if you were to plummet off the edge of this nomadic city, Kreide's voice of terror would not return to the relatively harmless state it was in a week ago. More importantly, the voice of terror isn't just harming the people around Kreide, it's also hurting him. He is the biggest victim of the resonance between you two. He may seem perfectly healthy right now, but don't be fooled. That is just another example of false recovery. Kreide's body may have adapted to the voice of terror in the past, but with the recent surge of leakage, this delicate balance is about to be thrown upside down. An optimistic estimate is that his good days will come to an end within 2 weeks. After that, he will experience the intense suffering that occurs in the acute phase following the false recovery phase. The happiest ending for both him and the Afterglow would be for him to die following the concert. For you, for me, for the Afterglow, and for him, it would be a good thing. I would obtain a trump card. I could pull out at any time. The Afterglow would obtain peace. Kreide would obtain his rest. And you would obtain your freedom. Graf Ortica, rightful heir of Leithanien. The last of the Witch King's bloodline.
Freedom. For as long as I can remember, I've never known freedom.
Poor child. No courtesy or greetings are needed. Just listen to me. Even though you were born into a distant branch far from the Witch King, you are indeed the last of his bloodline. Out of pity, I will not trouble you. Beyond that, you shall also inherit the fiefs passed down from generation to generation in your family. You will become the Lensherr of Urtica. You will learn to take responsibility for your own subjects. You are about to take a completely different path from that of your disgraceful kin. I await you.
This was my first memory. I was around 5 or 6 years old at the time. I can't remember from before that. I only vaguely remember coming into contact with a strange thing called the Voice of Terra, and nearly lost my life. Staring at the pure white dress in front of me, I was filled with thoughts that I'd become some obscure little aristocrat. I thought I'd live the rest of my life in peace, with the exception of the occasional headache and the auditory hallucinations from the Voice of Terra. Your illustrious highness, you should know to mind your words and actions, and to not leave the spire without good reason. I must remind you, everything that you are has been bestowed upon you by their majesties.
Your illustrious highness, aren't you forgetting something? You ought to praise their majesties before you eat.
Your illustrious highness, you will be learning a new piece today. This song expresses the gratitude of the nobles towards their majesties. Please keep that in your heart. Your illustrious highness, your mastery over Originium arts is simply transcendent. You want something more elaborate? You need not wear yourself out. Everyone around me did everything they could to limit my freedom, instilling in my mind an allegiance to the twin empresses. If that was the price for being able to live in peace and quiet, I was willing to pay it. I paid it for a very long time. Your illustrious highness, I shall be frank from the onset. You are the true heir to Leithanien. I've been lying in wait in your spire for a number of years now. I'm sure you recognize me. You don't have to say anything, just listen to me. You don't have to agree with me or repudiate me. I know that you're scared, that you don't want to lose even this life you have now, but you should at least know how those people see you and what they want you to do. I'm sure you know that the attendants the tyrants have forced upon you are setting up the banquet below. I will take you there and let you see the truth. The one in front of me grabbed me and pulled me up off the ground. My palm was drenched in sweat. Now that's the good stuff. I had no idea we had such an exquisite wine down in the cellar. You flatter me. Ortika's countryside lacks just about everything, but there are indeed a number of master winemakers here. Then we've got to make sure to drink our fill before the little run grows up. Can't be leaving any for him. That simply won't do. The boy has been under house arrest for a number of years, but I'm looking for the right time to teach him how to drink. I'll have to fill him until he's a hopeless alcoholic. I was entranced for a short while. You will become the Lancer of Ortika. Oh, so you still had that trick up your sleeves. Once the run has been completely soaked with wine, it'll be a load of their majesties. Shh. Ah, yes, right. Screw me, mate. Guess I'll have to repent with another glass. You will learn to take responsibility for your own subjects. But remember, these words don't leave the wine table. We can't allow the boy to have heirs. That's the order from on high, with my life on the line. If it's that big of a deal, why don't you find an apothecary? That won't work. It'll leave a paper trail. Only by letting him usher his own downfall will my task be considered complete. Ambitious, truly ambitious. Come, let us drink to that. You are about to take a completely different path from that of your disgraceful kin. If I can get rid of the boy without getting my hands dirty, then Ortika will be mine. I'll drink to that. Prost! Prost! Did you hear that, boy? This is the peaceful, easygoing life you wanted.
Herr Abendrot? Herr Abendrot? You fell over on the spot. I almost had you sent to the hospital. Feeling a little better? I'm perfectly fine. About the plan, I don't want to hear it right now. I'm going. As I said, you can leave at any time. Don't come pestering me again. Well, you'll have to forgive me for being bad at following orders. Welcome back. Your complexion looks terrible. What's wrong? Did you get sick? I'm fine. You sure don't look fine to me. Get rest in a bed and I'll boil some water for you. There's no need. Relax. I used to take care of Grandpa when he first got sick. Just lie down and let me handle the rest. If you don't get any better, I'm going to tell Hibiscus. I'll be right back. Graf Urtica endures a splitting headache and lies there in bed. His consciousness gradually blurs. Depraved maggots. They will destroy your exalted bloodline. Shut up. Self-deprecating trash. The sound of a cello comes from afar. The sky is blue and fine. His headache is no less intense, but the voice in Graf Urtrica's head is drowned out by the melody from the cello. A wave of reprieve washes over him. The breeze lilts by in song. This melody sounds somewhat familiar. His splitting headache makes it impossible for him to gather his thoughts, but he feels he has heard this melody somewhere before. The river murmurs clear. Where have I heard this before? Where? My heart. You're awake. Just stay put for now. Hibiscus just came over and drew blood when she saw you in the state you were in. She said there's no body, but you might be overstressed and worn out. Overstressed, huh? I heard someone playing the cello just now. Was that you? Yes. Where did you learn that melody? Maybe someone hummed it to me when I was little. I don't exactly remember. When you were little. You're that... I'm what? The weakened Graf Urtica struggles a few times, but nevertheless is unable to crawl out of bed. But those dusty memories within his mind, awakened by the sound of the cello, flashed once more before his eyes. And now, speaking of those memories, stage LEST 2. The Rite of Spring. No, they offer sacrifice not to that deceased figure, but to the figments within their own hearts. So these are the only ones left of His Majesty's bloodline? Those wretched women were quick at their handiwork. This is the best we can do. I still say that we shouldn't be treating His Majesty's melodies so frivolously. What do you think we should do then? I think we should be a little more cautious here. Cautious? Our people are being slaughtered day after day, and you want to be cautious. This is our last chance. Even if bringing His Majesty's bloodline and melodies won't revive all of His Majesty's powers, at the very least... How old am I? 2? 3? In the middle of a rundown building, I look around at my surroundings, bewildered. The man who brought me here told me that both my father and mother had already been lynched. At the time, I didn't even understand what lynching and death meant. He even told me that from here on out, this would be my home. I was going to be part of a grand plan, and if luck was on my side, I would even become Leithanien's next ruler. I don't get it. I don't get any of it at all. The only thing I understood in my confusion was that I probably wouldn't even ever get to go back to my room, where sunlight beamed in every morning.
Didn't I tell you already? It's impossible to make a person into a vessel for the voice of Terra.
You knew it was impossible? Did you let any of us know you were against the plan before we started then? And now only after they started to bite the dust are you complaining? Don't make me laugh.
No,
Let me tell you, this isn't a waste. This is a price we must pay for our success. As long as one of them survives, we won't have to hide out here in the provinces like thieves. Victoria, Ursus, Casimir's, there are more parties interested in our plans than we can count. As long as we succeed, their armies will help secure our revenge against those awful women.
That day, the lady who had been taking care of us disappeared. Once she was gone, the man who brought us our meals but didn't stay with us started arguing with each other. I didn't understand what they were arguing about. All I knew was that the lady who sang songs for us probably wasn't going to be back again. If I remember correctly, this is how the song goes. The sky is blue and fine. The breeze lilts by in song. The river murmurs clear. My heart is filled with hope. I think there was more to the song, but she never sang that part to us.
What is it this time? Out with it.
That's another one of them dead.
So what? We're making progress. Next time, we'll move the operation room further away and add more soundproofing material. We'll definitely get there.
The weather got cold and then warm. At first, those men would make a huge ruckus whenever someone disappeared. They gradually complained less and less. Our meals got worse too, but at least we were able to fill our stomachs, thanks to there being fewer mouths to feed. Perhaps this is just how man is meant to be. Before you know it, they disappear. And so did their things too. Like the cane that belonged to the old granny, the music box that belonged to a boy, the wand and originium dice that belonged to an older man. But there were also things that stayed with us, like the song that the girl liked to sing. There was a boy who learned the song, and he liked humming it. Just what are we doing? We brought His Majesty's bloodline under our protection only to send them to their deaths. Wake up! This is necessary. This is a necessary price to pay. To make sure His Majesty's Blood King can wield his power properly, we have to make these sacrifices. We are learning more and more about the voice of Terra. We'll succeed soon enough. What about those who died? No, let's stop these crazy experiments. Let's start over with new identities and raise the few we have left. They might just grow up to become fine men like His Majesty. Stop dreaming. We need the voice of Terra. Then, after a year or perhaps two, I really have no idea. It was just me and the boy. I'd start trembling in fear every time those men came to our room.
When he saw that, the boy would comfort me and tell me that everything was alright before standing in front of them. Then as soon as they were gone, he would sing the song. My heart is filled with hope. You two have been here for a long time. You may be kids, but you've figured it out already, haven't you? You're His Majesty's only surviving bloodkin, after all. I don't want to make this too ugly. I'll let you decide who will be next. We've made vast improvements to our technology. It might succeed, most likely. Whichever of you want to undergo the experiment might become a really, truly amazing caster. We weren't surprised. The man in the noble attire told us the same thing the few times before that, but none of the ones who left with him ever came back. My legs trembled. I looked to the boy next to me. His lips were pale too. I didn't want to disappear, nor did I want him to disappear, but he noticed my gaze and turned to me and spoke those words as his lips trembled. I'll do it. When I heard him say that, I couldn't keep myself upright anymore. My legs gave out and I fell to the ground. I lived alone in the empty room for 2 whole months. Then on a rainy night they brought the boy back. His eyes were closed and he bit his lips hard, but he was alive. I thought it was a miracle, but mere days later he was taken from the room again, never to be seen again, just like the others. He was still humming the song before he left. My heart is filled with hope. A few days came and went, and it was finally my turn. I followed those two. On our way, I saw many rooms that I had never seen before. There were all kinds of devices and equipment inside. We arrived at a small room that was completely white inside. The woman in the spire caster attire told me to lie down on the bed. She was wearing a white surgical mask and gloves and had a very strange feel to them. She put a mask over my face, and that was the last thing I remember. I was woken up by their cheers. When I awakened, it felt like there was a lava burning in my brain and roasting my eyes. The pain lasted... how long was it? Days? Weeks? Months? Nevertheless, as time went on, the pain slowly weakened. In the end, I would get bouts of intense pain that quickly subsided. I waited for them to carry me outside like everybody else, but they didn't. Not only that, they started to fawn on me, gave me more food, and let me run outside in the courtyard. They started giving me lessons to teach me how to read, write, and most importantly, use Originium arts. Very solemnly, they gave me the wand and Originium dice that belonged to the old man, and told me to cherish them, as they were a part of His Majesty's collection. Thereafter, whenever I showed any aptitude for arts, they would shower me with praise. Of course, those days didn't last very long. Is this all we'll get with this boy? From the looks of it, even if we pushed him to the limits, he would only be able to arm wrestle a single Empress's voice fighter. Perhaps we should adjust his voice of Terra. Energy fluctuations like the last one. Forget it. What are you afraid of? If we improve... You can't. You dare talk back to me? We had so many verses of Voice of Terra, and this is the only one that can still be played. We had 15 of His Majesty's Bloodkin, and this boy is the only one left. If we raise him right, we might be able to flee to another country or buy ourselves official appointments there, and more importantly, His Majesty's bloodline will continue. If he ends up buggered like the other kid, then the only way we'll be able to make it up to His Majesty is by taking our own lives. Hmm.
The next day, they were gone too. They didn't take their own lives, rather it was because the Empress's voice they kept talking about were here. When I sat in the empty room and listened to the screams outside, I couldn't help but feel a sense of joy. After all, they all loved to talk about His Majesty's bloodline. And now that they feared, and now what they feared the most, the destruction of this cursed bloodline, was finally about to happen. An elegantly dressed man kicked the door in and entered. This must be the Empress's voice. He looked at me and neither lowered his weapon nor attacked. He was probably hesitating. Hesitating for what? I picked up my wand and pointed it at the Empress's voice, and the Originium dice started to revolve around me. As I expected, he dashed toward me unbelievably quickly and struck the brass instrument on my head hard. That strike was the very thing that divided my short life into two wildly different halves. Graf Urtrika has forgotten how he found himself handcuffed to this chair. His frequent headaches serve as the only reminder that the Witch King's final melody yet lives in his head. His regent, managing the Grafschaft, has told him with scorn that it is an artifact left behind by the one whose name we dare not speak, and that is no longer separable from his body. But he has no idea at all how he became one with that thing. He remembers now. What should he do? What can I do? Oh, joyous past. Anyway, continuing onward, we land on another training stage which obviously doesn't have a story, but reads as follows, titled Up 849. Again, like I said on a previous episode, just look it up. It says here, foundational to a proper performance, the coherence and fluency of the music must be ensured. And then we continue on to stage 5, titled Moonlight. Under the chill of the twin moons, even birds seem numb with cold. So, let's begin. How do you feel? All better now, right? I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm sure of it. The both of us are. I'm going out for a bit, so stay put here. You're going out again the moment you feel a little better. I've got work to... Pardon? I've got work to do. That's fine and all, but shouldn't you at least wait until you've recovered? Don't worry about me. Hibiscus said the same thing. After you wake up, it'd be best to keep resting for a while and monitoring your condition. It's an emergency, one that can't wait, alright? But there's not a whole lot of time left until the concert. I think the most important to do until then is to make sure you're healthy and well practiced. I'm sure that's what you want too. Can you stop pestering me with that right now? Pestering? That's not what I meant. But I have to go, so don't get in my way. I'll be back as soon as I can. And you really can't tell me what you're going to do? If everything goes well, you'll know soon enough. Alright, your suit. What about it? I made an appointment to pick it up this afternoon, but I won't be able to go with you. You should go get it yourself. Remember to bring your cello with you and play a little passages you're trying it on. Make sure there aren't any areas that feel uncomfortable. I'll be back.
Yes, it's me. I'm here to ask you to put this concert on hold, or at least don't let Ebenholz and Kreide play together.
What did you say?
Something terrible is going to happen if the Afterglow... in the Afterglow if those two play together.
So, if what you're saying is true, my recent improvement was due to this so-called false recovery caused by Ebenholz and Kreide. And as soon as this phase is over, I'll become critically ill and my life will be in danger.
That's right. You've been around them a lot, so the symptoms will be a lot more pronounced.
Others who've had less contact with them are also affected, and if I let the two of them play together, there's a high possibility that people will die.
Correct. Even though I don't know the exact reason, having the two play together seems to amplify the effect they have on the surroundings.
How likely are we talking about here?
I can't say for sure right now.
Other than me, who else is in life-threatening danger?
Over a dozen people from the Afterglow have already been hospitalized in the Cliffy Patio.
The Cliffy Patio. In other words, they've already left Ebenholz and Kreide's effective range.
That should be the case.
Then I have a clear picture of the situation.
Your answer?
Is a no.
What? I'm not asking you to cancel the whole concert, you just cut Ebenholz and Kreide's part or even have someone else perform the duet.
If you can prove that their duet will cause harm to people other than me, then I'll cancel the concert right away. But it seems that's not the case, even if you have no idea what would happen if they played together. I can't simply throw away the efforts and aspirations of everyone in the Afterglow over these illusory concerns.
The efforts and aspirations? I understand how much this concert means to you, but...
You don't understand anything. If you truly understand, you wouldn't throw around the word "but" so lightly. Unfortunately, I cannot change the concert schedule on your word alone.
Mr. Czerny, please give me a straight answer. What makes this concert more important than the lives of the infected?
What are you talking about? Are you suggesting I'm disregarding people's lives?
I'm just saying... Hibiscus? Hibiscus! Miss Ursula? Come, take a little stroll, won't you? But... Come now. Let's head out and calm down first. We can talk about this later, okay?
If everything Gertrude said is true, then Kreide won't survive this. No, there must be some other way. There must be some way to come out ahead on both fronts. Czerny must know something. No, he's just a musician. He won't be able to help. Should I tell Kreide the truth? But what good would that do? Rhode Island. Someone like Hibiscus is only going to send me back to my cell in Ortica. The Empress's voice? What am I even thinking? Is this a suicide mission? As people are passing by and looking weirdly at a young man just pacing up and down a street. No, I've been going in circles. I'm standing out too much. I need to go somewhere less crowded. Huh? Have I seen that man before? Be careful. Definitely. The crowd.
Right, the rumor. There was that rumor. I've got to get to the bottom of this rumor. Who knows, there might be some clues, or rather, person spreading the rumor might know something. But it's all up to me at this point. You sure? This is the best opportunity we're going to get. The longer things drag on, the less time we'll have. It'll only make things harder. Alright, hurry up then. I'll go report to the higher-ups. I'm counting on you, Herr Lachmann. Huh. This work sure is demanding, physically and emotionally. It's hard enough spreading the rumors, now I even have to go there. The sewers. He's heading into the sewers. I'd rather not have to follow him down there. Time to act. Hold it right there. Who are you? Don't turn around. Tell me, who sent you to spread rumors in the afterglow? You've got the wrong idea. I just happened to overhear. I've been following you the whole time, Herr Lachmann. And I connected the dots just now. You were one fanning the flames before, spreading rumors to have that mob accost Hibiscus. You've got a pretty good memory. Speak. Who sent you here? And what were you planning to do in the sewers? What wonderful timing. I'm also quite curious as to what Herr Lachmann planned to do in the sewers. Huh? Don't turn around or else. What do you think will happen? Coffee man, doing spying shit, being sneaky. Anyway, continuing with the after portion. Who are you? I told you not to turn around. You let the mark get away. I said, who the hell are you? Easy now, my dear Graf. Settle down. My official identity can be a bit messy to explain, so just treat me as a spy. I am called Beagler. Why do you have to jump out at this exact moment? That man escaped because of you. Considering you ended up down in the sewers, it'll take him a long time to find another exit. Besides, you stopped him before he went into the sewers. Went into the sewer. Who knows, maybe the two of you saw that you were in a disadvantageous position and tried to put on a little show to try to fool me. You seriously think we're in cahoots? He and I? Or are you going to tell me that someone coerced you into going to see Gertrude? Spare me the bad jokes. You're worth much more than he is, Graf Urtica. You can't stop me. When it comes to compatibility, it is true that I cannot stop you, but think carefully. This is a job straight from their majesties. Take a look. I've dealt with these things since I was 6. I personally don't mind your snark, but you'd best show some self-restraint when it comes to their majesties' affairs. Restraint? When you, a lovely spy, figure out that you've got the wrong person, you're going to be the one begging for forgiveness. You don't seem to understand the situation you're in, my good Graf Urtica. But enough of that. Don't try to stall for time here. Come with me. Where to? To where you belong. Don't worry, we've prepared detention facilities for suspects from all walks of life. I assure you, you'll enjoy the finest treatment. Let me tell you something, Herr Beagler. Ready to beg for mercy, or is it a bribe? In case of the latter, I'd be more than glad to oblige. I doubt a little bit of money is enough for you to let me go. Why do I get the impression that you'd take me away regardless, even after you pocketed the money? Clever boy. I found you rather easy to get along with, Herr Beagler. You remind me of the Urtica I know so well, where most of the people are just as upstanding as you. I am honored to hear that. But what I really want to know is what that man is doing in the sewers. But you were the one who stopped him right under my nose. Well, this is a bit embarrassing to say, but I wanted to resolve things up here. One of my agents liked to tell stories that would make you want to hurl. Of the ones that instantly killed your appetite for the day, the worst all came from the sewers. Ah, if your stomach is upset, perhaps we should go for a cup of coffee to smooth things over. I'd love to, but I'd much rather find out what he's doing down there. I might as well go after him. And this is all your fault, Herr Biegler. As long as you let me head down, you can keep pointing your wand at me. I won't try to run. I will warn you in advance. There will be consequences for running away from me without authorization, regardless of the reason. What kind? Will you put me down? You'd at least be stripped of your status, even if you're proven innocent in the future. You'd never be able to step into the spire of Urtica ever again. Don't threaten me with a good time. I might be even more inclined to try running now. Biegler just shakes his head. In any case, since you insist on heading down there, after you, Graf Urtica, I'll be keeping a close eye on you. Hibiscus, this isn't a lecture, but you can't speak to mein Herr that way. But Mr. Cheney is... There's lots of things he can't say, leaving this old lady to say him. Please, come in. Do you know how the Afterglow got its name? I don't. Mein Herr once said, it is precisely because night falls that the Afterglow is even more precious. If the long veil of the night were to never lift, we could be more dazzling and awe-inspiring than the warm... If the long veil of night were never to lift, what could be more dazzling and awe-inspiring than the warm Afterglow? It's a wonderful saying, but...
Oh, the two over there are Frau Ursula and Hibiscus. Come, if you want to chat, do it over here. Why the long face, Hibiscus? Did something happen? If you're worried that my food isn't healthy enough, I also have sparkling water here. Come.
We're still... Let's oblige him this time.
Frau Ursula, what's wrong with Hibiscus? Did she get into an argument?
No, none of that. Enough random guessing. I was telling Hibiscus about the history of the Afterglow.
The Afterglow's history? Now that's something I couldn't be more familiar with. Not bragging either, but I bet I know even more about more than Frau Ursula here. The Afterglow didn't used to be a residential area for the infected. It was one of Vyseheim's industrial plates. Don't underestimate me just because I'm setting up shop over here. Back in the day, I was in charge of feeding hundreds of associates.
Industry. Could it be that this place was turned into an infected residential area because of the spread of Oripathy due to industrial waste?
Industrialization did bring a lot of infected here, but back in Leithanien's old days, there was no such thing as a ghetto for infected. I won't keep rambling on. One year, Vyseheim constructed a magnificent concert hall that shocked the world with but a single order from him, His Majesty, known now as the Afterglow Hall. Back then, that's not what the concert hall was called.
His Majesty? Which one are you referring to? Oh dear Hibiscus, let's not worry about the details, alright? If it's His Majesty. I get it.
When the concert hall was completed, he still reigned, and nobody dared to say anything. but he left us just as quickly as Graf Strollo, who took over Vyseheim, hated this concert hall.
Maybe hate isn't the right word, but rather was too quick to show loyalty.
Shh, no random guessing. A few years later, the powers issued an order to supposedly improve the treatment of the infected. The Graf at that time took the opportunity to lump the concert hall together with the industrial plate and turned it all into the infected ghetto. I looked all over, and before that there were no such things as infected quarters anywhere in Leithanien.
The Count, the Graf, at that time, wasn't that the very same Dame Gertrude?
It was either her father or her oldest brother. I can't really remember, but it wasn't actually her. Though the Graf at the time designated this area for the infected, he didn't care whether the people in it lived or died. He even had all the industrial facilities torn down. Obviously, to have us fend for ourselves. So among the nobles, this place became known as the Afterglow, and the concert hall also became the Afterglow Hall. The name Afterglow represented the idea that we wouldn't last long, just like the last rays of light in the evening.
That's pretty cruel and unusual.
It was pretty over the top. But for the Afterglow at the time, that word was a perfect fit. Everyone fought desperately to survive, to let the lingering rays of sunlight on the horizon struggle for just a bit longer. We set up stalls and ran errands. Some of us even turned into hired thugs for rich people in the other plates. Those were some chaotic years. Later on, her journey stepped forward.
Stepped forward?
He started out as a nobody. He had written a few pieces, but since he was infected, everything was published anonymously. His works were magnificent, even attracted attention from the fancy folk atop the spires, but once they saw that her journey was from the Afterglow, they quickly turned away and left. That was until he wrote Morgen und Abend. Ursula would be more qualified to speak about Morgen und Abend than me, so I'll turn the floor over to her.
Miss Ursula? Oh, it's actually quite simple. The one who taught piano to Mein Herr had a daughter, and she was good friends with him. The two were on very good terms, and they were just about as good as each other. They were awfully competitive, always trying to one-up the other. Sadly, the girl passed away when Mein Herr was 20 years old. Losing her was a huge blow to him. Day in, day out, he spoke hardly a word. He grew thinner and thinner by the day. Until finally he showed a stack of sheet music, told me it's his newest composition, and that he wasn't gonna publish anonymously this time. The Gräfin then, she was the very same dame you mentioned. Still don't know why, but the Gräfin sought out Mein Herr. She became his sponsor and also went along with all his ideas. She gave him her full backing, finally letting Morgen und Abend carry the journey, and spread it all throughout the Afterglow. I can't imagine that, but I'm starting to understand a bit of what Mr. Cheney meant in his saying. Morgen und Abend was so popular and beloved, the folk in the spire couldn't blind eye anymore. They had no choice. They had to acknowledge Mein Herr's talent. So then Mr. Cheney began to cultivate people in the Afterglow who had musical talent?
That's right. Seeing as how we are in Leithanien, the one thing we aren't short on is musicians. I may not have any talent, but even I...
Oh, stop it, you're just being humble. A few years ago, you were still playing the accordion while yodeling and about your pickled cabbage.
Back in my factory days, I had to gather everyone up for lunch. Way easier to use an accordion than to shout.
Anyway, once music became a part of the Afterglow, our worst days finally passed. Composing, performing, teaching, making instruments. Plenty of folk publish their compositions anonymously, and most performers can't leave the Afterglow, but still the money it brought in gave the Afterglow a foot in the door. But before long, my hair got into some big fight with the Gräfin. A big fight? Looked like a clash of ideas. Not that I understand such things. The Gräfin stayed the heir's patron, but the two have hardly made contact since. Adante? What's wrong? Kryda's grandfather, he's gone missing? I'll help back right away. Thank you very much. See you.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again. If anything doesn't fit quite right, bring it back and I'll fix it for you.
It's already so late. Abendrot should be back by now, right? Huh? What is that? An originium slug?
Alright then, this is where we are gonna end for today. Next time we are potentially gonna wrap it up in one single part with the last 3 stages, and I'm presuming one extra cutscene only stage, so stay tuned for that. But for today, this will be it. Also considering that this part should come out on the 30th of December, and over the weekend is obviously gonna be New Year's. Expect the next part for this to be out probably on the 1st of January, somewhere late in the evening, depending on where you are in the world. I'm talking from Central European time over here, so for me it's gonna be probably late in the evening when the part goes live on the channel. But in the meantime, there is still a boatload of operator records to go through, because for some reason this patch is very heavy on them. Plus, there's been a addition to a boatload of module stories, so I'm also slowly working to open those up and record them for the channel. But in the meantime, this has been Jacob. I hope you have enjoyed this part, and I hope you have lots of luck. Apparently, people who are pulling on this banner are having a lot more luck than I have, so congrats. I'm very happy for everybody. But yeah, good luck on pulling if you're still pulling or planning on pulling for Abendrot and Hibiscus. But in the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.